So I forgot to check how big my bird was. It was like 15 pound or 12 pound or somewhere in that range. When it comes out of the oven, I brined it. I already did a video on that. When it comes out of the oven, I pick off all the big pieces. I cut off the breast as best as I can. That's sliced as best as I can slice it. I actually save the skin after I pick it clean. I take the skin and fat, and that goes into the pressure cooker along with the carcass. I've already thrown the carcass in the composter. You can see that on a video I already have on how to pick a carcass and everything. Put it through the pressure cooker for 20 minutes at 15 psi. Brings everything right off the bones. If you go any longer than that, it'll actually dissolve the bones, which is undesirable. So I pick it clean. When I put it in my big thing here, that's about 3 liter, I can't remember. I try to separate white meat from dark meat. That goes in the fridge. And the drippings I canned up at 15 psi for 30 minutes. And you can see it separates out. Fat on the top, and this is liquid at the bottom. Very flavorful, well, it's all liquid. Very flavorful water-based drippings on the bottom. Easiest way to separate it is put that in the fridge for a couple hours. All the stuff on the top will harden right up. You'll be able to spoon it out very accurately with a spoon and get right down and skim the surface of this. Will gel down here. That'll turn into like jello. And then you can just scoop it out and with a spoon, and away you go. Bob's your uncle. And then we have, as you can see here, we've got a bunch of broth. Oh yeah, after the pressure cooker I mentioned I saved the skin. So this is actually filled with skin. When it comes out of the pressure cooker, if you've ever even boiled the bird with your skin and stuff, it's just completely flimsy and flavorless or whatever. It's actually pretty good if you take it from there and put it into your big cast iron frying pan with just a little bit of chicken fat or turkey fat in the pan, and you can fry that up into really crispy skin the way it, or you can throw it in the oven. Actually, I've done it in the oven. You got to watch it better. When it's on the stove top, you can just see it. It's easier to do in the oven actually on convection. Make it nice and crispy. I would suspect it'd be very low fat when it's that crispy. So then we've got 6 things of just broth. This one, that's coming out of the pressure canner. And this one I filled about 2/3 of the way with broth, and then started filling it with meat because that was the end of the broth. And this one I just picked the rest of the fine meat off, filled this jar with it, and then filled it up with water and canned them all up together. That's the gravy from part of the drippings. I already put the drippings over there. So made this awesome gravy that the boys love. It's I mean, it's got turkey fat in it, but it's relatively a little amount for, what was it, about 1.5 liters or 2 liters of gravy. It had like 1/4 cup of fat in it. That's not bad, most things considered. It's probably better than a bag of chips or whatever. And look, we still got a crap load of it left, so it's not like you're picking out on it. And that's about it. We've got quite a bit off of that bird. We picked about just as much eating off of it as you could, I guess. I suppose, composting, which is what we did. Composting the carcass afterwards is the most responsible thing to do with it, rather than throw it in the garbage. Lots of good eating. These things keep forever. Actually, in that gravy, I opened up a thing of chicken broth I did in March of 2009. Basically looked just like that, only chicken broth. And sometimes you'll see you get a lot of fat on the top here. You can probably see that separation, quite a bit of fat on the top. Same thing applies if you want to get that off really easily. Throw that in the fridge for a couple hours, and then just put a spoon in there, and that whole top puck, it'll basically, if you cut it down the middle, you can take 2/2 of a hockey puck of fat basically out. You cleared the fat out of it completely, but those pucks are used good for frying, really flavorful fat. If you'd use butter or margarine in a frying pan, use the same amount of the fat from that. Cha-ching, you're doing some really high quality frying, in my opinion anyway, when you're doing it that way. And that's about it. That's what we did with our turkey.